Welcome back to the channel, Brawlers. It's BrAWL96 here with another Legacy review. I'm going to go ahead and say this is another Brontes collection video, but not really. Instead, I will be taking a look at the Bakugan trap that is partnered with Brontes. Of course, I am talking about Dynamo. Yeah, I was lucky enough, and I actually did finally score the HAOS. But that's not all, Brawlers. I mean, bigger news than that. So it won't be in this video. I know, sad. You'll have to stay tuned and make sure you keep an eye out. But in my next video, I will be reviewing this gem right here. That's right, Brawlers. This is a, believe it or not, sealed Bakugan New Vestroia Bakugan Trap Darkest Dynamo. You know, it's going to feel really bad tearing into this thing because it's like a piece of history. I mean, just given how old this is. But, you know, off camera, I do plan on taking a box cutter, you know, gently gliding across because I want to keep as much of the packaging as possible. I mean, the Dynamo character art is just amazing. And, you know, I do want to keep this. You know, I want to keep everything. I'll probably put it like as like box decor or put it in a binder. But I definitely want to keep the packaging just because of how old it is. You know, this is straight out of my childhood. I'm not even going to lie about it. Definitely nostalgic. I mean, just huge. I didn't even know that they made a Darkest Dynamo until here recently. And I actually found this sealed set on eBay. Yeah, not a bad pickup. I think there was actually one left. So if you're interested in having a sealed Darkest Dynamo, definitely go scour eBay. I'm sure that listing is still up. I mean, maybe not now, but it was up at the time of buying that one. So I'll put it in the background here, I suppose. But yeah, that will be next video. For this video, though, I want to focus on the HAOS. And then piggybacking off of the HAOS, I do want to talk about my Legacy Bakugan deck. That is something we are doing over on the Discord. If anyone is interested, we have been doing the Legacy Bakugan game. So with that being said, I do want to go over my Legacy deck list. The webcam I use isn't the best quality. So this way at least the brawlers know kind of what I'm using. But yeah, that's why I have the Legacy cases out and what have you. But all the yada aside, let's go ahead and get straight into that Dynamo review. Not this one. This one's going away. I know. Sad face. Next video, ring the notification bell so you don't miss it. This video, though, is all about the HAOS. So I will go ahead and give everyone a look of the outside. I do believe Dynamo is like a hexagon. Yeah. So it is the hexagon trap, which is really cool. You know, it has very interesting design. They function much like the, you know, later day Geogon, which you would use them. They give you a substitute Bakugan. But these Bakugan trap, you know, they were different. All they did was change the Bakugan you were using. They changed your attribute very quick. So kind of like a battle trap. I guess that's why they're called Bakugan trap. But as far as Geogon, you know, Geogon actually perform as the Bakugan. Where these were just supplements that could change the attribute. But yeah, enough of that. Let's go ahead and open up this Dynamo. Here we go. So this is the original HAOS attribute for it. The native attribute, if you will. That was really nice because I had a ton, or at least a few Dynamo already. But I wanted to get the HAOS just because it matches the HAOS Brontes. But the attributes that you can pick from, so it can change you to Pyrus. Aquas right there. And I think it has 3, yeah, Ventus. So not bad, you know, you can be either fire, water, or wind, you know, Pyrus, Aquas, or Ventus. That's pretty nice. And then on top of having to use this with a HAOS Bakugan, you know, in my opinion, the trap Bakugan that gave you access to more attributes were the better ones because they were more likely to actually have an effect in game, if you will. But yeah, so Dynamo, you know, fun fact, is actually one of the mechanical Bakugan. It is a full mechanical trap, so it's not like a real Bakugan in the sense that it's living or organic. It is mechanical like Altair, Hades, Max Spider, a few others. I guess all of the Maxis Helios pieces and even the Maxis Dragonoid pieces were mechanical. Moving on to manual parts. So Dynamo does have little manual feet on all 6, so a little tedious to fold them all out, but of course in gameplay you wouldn't really worry about this. But I think it just adds, a cute little feature, just a little bit of extra for the Bakugan. It seems like those legacy versions tend to have more manual pieces, and that's really cool. The only other huge detail to Dynamo, and I definitely want to talk about it and mention it, is because if you fold the head down, there is a peg, and I'm assuming that this peg was put in there during production so that you could actually have the Brontes Dynamo combiner, somewhat how it combines in the show. That being said, and I did talk about this on my latest live stream, Brontes was not made with said peg hole. So there's really no way to have access to that combiner. I mean, you can set Brontes on top, but it doesn't really stay there. It doesn't hold. I mean, you could do a little Frankenstein like I tend to do and like bore out a hole for Brontes, and then it would fit, but then you're getting into like mock Bakugan, and that's not the same thing, right? Even in the combat set that was released for Dynamo and Brontes, not even those could combine. So that was a big shame, huge letdown. It seemed like Spinmaster almost wanted to do it, but then at the last minute they scrapped the idea. And I always thought that was a bummer, right? Like, why have a combiner, have both pieces of the combiner, and then not actually be able to attach them? Seems like you would want that for gameplay, but oh well. This is coming from the same company that made the Altair and Wired combine, but then there was no way to actually utilize that within the game or gameplay, and that was also kind of, a shame. But anyway, back to Dynamo, because Dynamo is awesome. To close it, you want to fold the head down. The 2 furthermost legs, you want to keep them, so I guess the center legs, you keep them open. Close the other 4 first, and these kind of fold in to hold it all in place. And that is the Bakugan Trap Dynamo. Really cool. Go ahead and drop it. Boom. Really cool. Now then, going on to my Brontes deck. So I did change it up because we had a few G-power discrepancies, and I wanted to lower it all down. I think the server cap for New Vestroia is 700. So the Alto Brontes I was using, which was the Baku Steel, has 720. But all I did was replaced it with the HAOS Battle Damaged, because this Brontes only has, what is it? So if I bring it up here, 640? Well, if it'll, I swear, yeah, there we go. So it does have 640 Gs, so that does get me down to the requirement, which I'm perfectly fine with. The next Bakugan I was using, so I was using the Pyrus Translucent Alto Brontes. It could take the opponent's attribute, or I could keep it Pyrus. That does help. I guess that would come up in circumstances. And it is 680. If I can get that to show up for everybody. There we go. 680 Gs. So kind of a little battle gimmick using a translucent. But I think it's really cool. And then what I was using was a 550G Baku Steel Ventus Mega. But during the play, I couldn't get it to stand. It would just flop all over the gate cards. So I decided to replace that one. And I am going to be using the Ventus Chonk. It has the exact same G power, 550 as well. But this one stands a lot easier. The reason I'm using the Ventus is because of the cards in the deck that I'm using. But who knows, I might make more decks or switch things around as I go. This is just what I'm using for now. By the way, I'm not using any Bakugan Trap, but if I were to use a Bakugan Trap, obviously it would be the HAOS and Ventus Dynamos. I don't quite have the Pyrus Dynamo yet, though. It's apparently EU exclusive and hard to get. But here we have the team. So once again, just going over really quickly. HAOS Battle Damaged Alto, Pyrus Translucent Alto, and then the Ventus, I guess, base Brontes. I always want to call it core Brontes because I'm used to G2, but that's not the case. I can't say that just because I want to. I'm just folding up Brontes. We'll set that in the background. Or not Brontes, Dynamo. Good on you, Dynamo. Your part of the video is over. So now that I've showed off the team, it's time to go ahead and get into my 3 ability cards. This is kind of a weird deck. You know, it was the first one I've made in years, I'm not going to lie. So it might not be the best, but hopefully as I read everything out, you can all kind of see what I was going for. So for my blue ability, I'm using Attractor. Play after your opponent's Bakugan is rolled and stands. You get to move that Bakugan to the other gate card. So it does come in handy, you know, you kind of manipulate where you want your opponent. After that, I am using Bright Torch, you know, Brontes artwork. Play during a battle, your HAOS or Pyrus Bakugan may use the highlighted gate card bonus instead of their normal gate card bonus this battle. So again, kind of just messing around with the highlighted bonuses. Could come up. Might replace that card actually. And then I'm using Light Wind for my red and final ability card. Play after you roll and stand a Ventus or HAOS. You may move any standing Bakugan to any gate card. So I really like this one. It's really nice, almost like perfect aim. But you can actually move any Bakugan you want. And that's really powerful, really strong too when you take into account the gate cards I'm running, which I'm going to get into right now. Starting off with my bronze gate, yeah, copper, I guess bronze or copper, we'll say copper. It is standoff, and what it does is no ability cards can be played this battle. So it is really powerful, assuming I have the up hand, which I will play my Pyrus Brontes on this one more times than not. It's an automatic win because the opponent can't play anything. Neither can you though, so it's like a double-edged sword, but you know, I've had luck with this card. So 140 to Pyrus, 80 to Aquas, 50 to Subterra, 80 to HAOS, 60 to Darkus, and then 20 to Ventus. Pretty cool. Not a bad card. For my gold gate, so this is like the main, I guess, gate card behind my whole strategy. And what it reads is, each Bakugan gets plus 200 G power for any Brontes Bakugan that its owner has standing on a gate other than this one. So the idea for my team is to roll out a Bakugan, stand it, place this gate, roll a Brontes onto this one, and then use any one of my other ability cards to set up for a battle. And it's almost like an auto win, right? Like whether I land on this one or the one where my opponent can't play ability cards, you know, it's an idea, right? Hopefully it's like a good strategy. I don't know, I haven't been able to test it out a whole lot. Bleh, but I think it's cool. And then for attribute bonuses, so you get, what is it? 150 to Pyrus, you get 80 to Aquas, 150 to Subterra, 100 to HAOS, 170 to Darkus, and then 50 to Ventus. So on this field, you know, if I'm using my Pyrus Brontes, which I might want to, I would get the 150, but again, translucent, it could take the opponent. And then again, I could switch over to the highlighted with my ability card. With a Bright Torch is what it is. Yeah, Bright Torch. So, you know, just options in case the Ventus ends up on this one. I can switch over, give it the 100, and then we get the 200 for a plus 300. And then the last card I'm using, it's just kind of a placeholder. I just threw it in there because it has Brontes on it. And it's Baked Soil. So this is the silver one. No ability, and it just simply gives 80 to Pyrus, 120 to Aquas, 140 to Subterra, 180 to HAOS. So obviously I would want to stand my HAOS Brontes on this. 50 to Darkus, and then 30 to Ventus. Obviously with this team, I definitely want to switch this card out. Probably will. I just don't really know when or what for. Because it's been a long time since I've built legacy decks and teams, and I'm still trying to get a hang for it, or a feel for it. But yeah, I guess that's my legacy deck. That does it for the video. This has been another Brontes update. The collection sure is growing. Like, it is getting massive. And I still can't believe I managed to score this Darkest. So that is almost all attributes of Dynamo. I just have to get the Pyrus now. And then, yeah, I'd say that's a pretty complete Brontes collection. There are a few others that I want, some a little more expensive, but I'm actually really happy with how this is turning out. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed the video. Thank you all for watching. And until next time, stay safe, drum up. And I see you, Drago. Drago's got the bread.